Your body's talking to you all the time, and we really can't afford to not listen to it. Welcome to the Glow Up Revolution podcast, a podcast for overgivers, overachievers, and the strong ones in the room. We discuss everything from neuroscience-based burnout prevention to magic spells we can cast for upcoming job opportunities and everything in between. Welcome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey there. Welcome back, Glowies, to the Glow Up Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Megan Winkler. And today we're going to be talking to a very specific crowd of listeners. So this is for any woman who is in perimenopause or beyond. And we're going to be talking about kind of coming home to your body. So before we get started, just take a big deep breath and let it out. And I'm going to ask you a question, and there's no judgment here. And I'm really saying this with knowledge that my episode last week got y'all crying, got y'all really thinking about things. So again, there's no judgment here. I am not judging you. Okay. I know that we're not like interacting in real time, but I promise you, I'm not judging you because a lot of things I talk about on the podcast, I have experienced myself. I've fallen victim to. I have silenced my voice. I have gotten small. I had to unlearn slouching, and I still slouch a lot because I developed a large chest in middle school, and I'm 5'10", and I sprung up and was taller than all of my classmates really early. And so I physically shrunk my body down as much as I could. So this is without judgment. This is so much love. And we're just kind of naming what's going on so that then we can bring healing into the space. Okay. So when was the last time you asked yourself something like, am I tired? Like not just busy tired, but actually tired. When was the last time you asked yourself, am I in pain? Now, some of us do deal with chronic pain, and so you don't need to ask that question. How about, am I holding my breath? Or am I clenching my jaw right now? And if I hit the nail on the head with one of those, take a big deep breath, roll your shoulders, unclench your jaw. Really guilty of that myself. And if you had to really think about it, like, oh, I don't know, do I have tension in my shoulders? Am I tired? You're really not alone. I promise. Today we're talking about the relationship between chronic stress, burnout, and the body. So we're going to specifically be looking at what happens when we spend years or sometimes decades tuning out our signals that our body is sending us and what it looks like to really come back home to ourselves. Okay. So the episode does touch a little bit on perimenopause, but this really is for anyone who's listening who has felt like you have overextended yourself, you have overcommitted, you have given more than you are getting out of your relationships or situations, that sort of thing. Okay. We're also going to touch a little bit on ignored symptoms. We're going to touch on pain that we've normalized or exhaustion as well, that we're calling just kind of part of our personality. And this episode is also going to end with something I think you really right. And this episode is going to end with something I think you really need right now. Something gentle, practical tools for you to start reconnecting with yourself. Okay. So we're not performing wellness. You don't have to post this anywhere. You don't have to tell me about it. Nothing. You're doing it for yourself. So settle in. I think you're going to love this episode. Grab something warm to drink or, shake your arms and your shoulders out if you're listening to this on a walk, and let's do this together. So if you've been in my orbit for a while, you know that burnout is more than just mental exhaustion, right? It's more than just working too hard. It's more than just giving too much or not having enough boundaries. It's actually like all of those. And depending on your specific experience, it may include other things. So it's physical, it lives in the body, it changes the body, right? And so for a lot of us, it started with something in our body. So it could have been that we like pushed through being sick. It could be headaches or your back hurting. It could be like an actual injury or even like tummy problems. I really identify with the meme that's like, my tummy hurts and I hate the government. But those moments that you push through and you didn't listen to your physical body is a way that burnout can start. It's not the way every case of burnout starts. So please don't think that it's like, oh, well, I was mentally overwhelmed and I burned out. So because it didn't have a physical thing to begin with, it doesn't count. It totally counts. I'm just talking about the physical aspects of burnout right now. So the thing is the brain likes to be rewarded. And so when we try something and it works, the brain goes, oh, we'll just do that again. So like if you just poured another cup of coffee and you showed up anyway and you're running, 100-degree fever and you're on all the Sudafed, so you're just like a little loopy and you pulled through, there's going to be a little aspect of that your mind is going to be like, oh, I did it last time, I can do it again. Same thing as if you have chronic pain or if you have a stomach issue and you're just like, you know what? It's fine. I'll eat that lactose. It's cool. When we start ignoring our bodies and even kind of turn it into like a personality trait, like we are always there to push through. We're a go-getter. We always show up. We always show up early. We start disconnecting the trust that we have with our own body. And as I'm bringing this to you, you may be experiencing a few emotions. There were lots of emotions last week. There's lots of emotions this week, right? There could be a little bit of grief. What have I missed? There could be a little remorse or regret. Say, oh, I should have done that. Most shoulds are crappy, but one should that is good is that we should be listening to our bodies. Okay. Your body is always sending you signals, right? So every headache is a message. Every sleepless night is information. Every muscle that wouldn't unclench. I was storing a lot of trauma in my hips, particularly my right hip. And I had to go to physical therapy because my piriformis was so inflamed and so tight that it was sending shooting pains up my back and down to my right foot. And with the exercise, with physical therapy, with pain management, all of that, the thing that got it to unclench is when I started addressing the mindset that was tied to it, right? So I was seeing the physical therapist. I saw the doctor. We did an MRI and everything just to make sure like things weren't crazy and I didn't have like a slipped disc around my sciatic nerve, all of that. And I was good and I was getting the treatment I needed. And it was still so tight until I released the trauma and the emotions that were stored there. Okay. So you can see they feed off of each other, right? Your body's talking to you all the time. And we really can't afford to not listen to it. Okay. Most of us, though, are operating in systems, which include our jobs, our families, our relationships, even our society and culture, where there's not a whole lot of room for getting the body what it needs. There's not a whole lot of room for slowing down or saying, I'm not okay today. Unfortunately, a lot of us can't call in sick without it costing you something, right? So some people don't have sick time here in the US. Some people would have to use PTO that they would want to use for a vacation if they're sick. those of us who own their own business, like myself, if I'm not working, it don't get done. Right? So, because I'm still just operating as a one woman team here. It can also cost things that are intangible, like your reputation or someone's disappointment, right? So we have learned to override our body's needs. We have taught ourselves to outthink the system that is our body. Okay. And every time we do that, we open up a little more distance between our mind and our body. And honestly, in my opinion, not a doctor, mind you, not a therapist, but in my opinion, this is why when we hit our 40s, our late 30s, 40s, and even into our early 50s, we hit that point where things are just not working right. Yes, there are shifts in hormones. Yes, there's shifts in how our body is acting and responding to the environment around us, including the food we eat and all of that. And also, I really truly believe, again, it's my personal belief, that all the years of ignoring the stress or pushing through the stress are catching up to us, right? And it just happens to happen around that perimenopause point, right? So I'm quoting this. And that perimenopause era can stretch for years. It can go on for a decade or more. And your body is switching up its hormones, it's shifting, it's asking for something completely different at 35 than it did at 25, and at 45 than it did at 35. Okay, perimenopause can start in your late 30s, and a lot of women didn't know that. I didn't know that before I started digging into it. But what sent me to the internet and then sent me to my doctor was my sleep changes and my mood fluctuations, and also little hot flashes in the middle of the night. And my periods kind of started shifting just a little bit, like just enough to feel off, feel different. And I was kind of shocked, honestly, that it was like, I think I was like 38, 39 when that happened. I was like, what the heck? And it is just another phase of life. We are both blessed and I don't know if cursed is the right word. That might be a little too harsh, but burdened with bodies that change and go through phases. We are so much like the moon. We go through phases and changes. And that is just another thing that's happening in our bodies is we are changing. And part of that change is a reluctance, or depending on who you are, a refusal to keep doing what you've been doing and keep stuffing that stress down. Okay. So once we acknowledge that, yep, it is time to change, it is time to switch gears. Once we have learned that, both from my experience and from walking alongside a lot of women who are going through burnout recovery, our body just gets louder until we listen. Okay? Chronic stress keeps your nervous system in a state of low-grade alarm all the time. Your body is running this kind of threat detection system 24/7 anyway. And it's looking for threats in the environment. Now, if we are in a safe space, like at home or, in a yoga studio where we're very familiar with the class and the location, we're able to chill and we're able to hit that rest and digest point. Okay. But if we are unable to get out of this threat detection mode, right, that can happen and can create this chronic stress, over time, we experience real physical changes. So that can look like elevated cortisol. It can look like disrupted sleep, immune dysregulation. Your doctor might be talking about adrenal fatigue, metabolic syndrome, digestive issues, hormonal disruption, general inflammation. Okay. And I want to tell you that if you feel like something's wrong in your body, especially if you've been stressed a lot, go see your healthcare provider. You are not a hypochondriac. You are not being dramatic. You are experiencing something that needs to be addressed with a medical provider. And then after you run all the tests and all the things, come see me and we'll coach you out of it and coach you through it. Okay. So when you've been disconnected from your body for so long, though, the signals that it sends can feel really foreign or extreme. Like, why am I suddenly exhausted by things that used to be easy? Think of it like a little kid who's trying to get its mom's attention. And so I'm thinking of the Family Guy episode, if you watch Family Guy, where Stewie is standing next to Lois and Lois is just like flat out on the bed. And you can just tell she's just like that mom exhausted level of exhausted. And he's like, Mom, Mama, Mommy, Mom, Mommy, Mother, Mom, Mama, Mama. Right? So it's kind of like that in your body. It's like, hello, hi. Hello. Hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, what's up, bitch? That's what our body will do, right? If we're not listening, it'll just get louder. It is waving a flag saying, hey, we need help. Something's not right here, okay? So the more disconnected we are from our body, the more this shows up. Okay. So here's a few ways that you will become disconnected from your body if you're not doing these things already. So if you're regularly skipping meals because you forget to eat, or because stopping to eat feels like too much of an interruption in your workday, you are showing that disconnection. Okay. Skipping things, or especially like not getting up from your desk to eat. Oh, girl. No. Go eat your lunch, and don't eat your lunch at your desk. Okay. If you hold your breath or breathe shallowly without realizing it, I've done that a lot. My breath will get really trapped up here in my upper chest, just below my clavicle, like up behind my sternum. I will actually also hold my breath without realizing it. So that's a big one for me. You may only notice it when someone points it out, or you like catch yourself taking a big gasping breath or sigh, and you're like, oh, I've been holding my breath. Another way you can disconnect from your body is you don't really notice if you're cold, if you're hot, if you're uncomfortable, or if you're in pain until it becomes impossible to ignore. If you're cold, go grab your sweater. If you're hot, take that sweater off, pull your hair up. If you're in pain, listen to the pain. Another way you can disconnect from your body is if you use productivity or busyness as a way to stay out of your body, because slowing down feels scarier than exhaustion feels. So if you're more afraid of slowing down because you're going to lose the productivity, or because you're going to not be as busy being busy, that's a red flag right there. If you're more attuned to other people's physical states than your own, or even emotional states than your own, and you notice when someone else looks tired or tense before you notice that you are, my friend, it is time to reestablish that connection with your body. And finally, if you feel most comfortable in your head, thinking, planning, and analyzing, and genuinely don't know what you feel in your body on most days, there's some disconnect there. Okay. Again, no judgment, my friends. So I do want to come back to the perimenopause piece, to that 40s and 50s piece, because I want to give it a little more time than just a brief mention. Perimenopause is one of the most powerful invitation points a woman's body can offer. And unfortunately, it's almost entirely framed in our culture as something to manage, suppress, push through, or to be ashamed about. Now, I have an amazing friend, Erica Shannon Hathaway, who is a fabulous menopause coach. If you need a referral, you let me know. I will send you to her. She is one of many coaches and influencers in our current society and culture who are turning that on its head and really helping you thrive through these years of your life. But I remember like my grandmother talking about going through the change and like it was this mysterious thing and like something to dread. And like my grandmother, because she was 35 when she had my mom, and then my mom was 23 when she had me, when I was a little kid, my grandmother was like in her 50s and she was still hot flashing and all of that. She was in her late 50s, but she was hot flashing. She was all talking about that. And then my mom's sister, my aunt, who is 12 years older than my mom, was also going through the beginning of perimenopause. And like, it was just like this big secret. And I remember being so worried, like, oh my gosh, like, I know I'm going to have a period one day, but then I have to do this one day too? Okay. Does that feel familiar? We've also got the hormone shifts. Oh my God, we've got the hormone shifts. We've got declining estrogen, progesterone, shifts in cortisol sensitivity, changes in thyroid function. Hello. My thyroid has been acting up for the past decade. This is not only a symptom to treat, it is also your body recalibrating, your body shifting with age, and it's asking you to live differently. So, some of those ways that we live differently, right, is getting better rest, getting better nourishment, approaching ourselves with more gentleness and compassion, right? It doesn't mean we have to slow down. It doesn't mean we have to be unambitious. It does mean that we need to listen to ourselves better. Okay. The women that have the hardest time with this, and I include myself in this group, are the ones who are high achieving, the caregivers, the overfunctioners, and the recovering people pleasers, right? Because we have just kind of pushed through and we're going to do it anyway. And our bodies, we hit a certain point and they're just like, nope, we're not going to do that. And we really have this invitation to come back home to ourselves and our bodies, which is really, really beautiful. Now, let's be honest, reconnecting with your body after a long disconnection is genuinely hard. And it's not because you're bad at, but it's because it can feel threatening, right? So your body interprets change as a threat, even if it's positive change. A lot of times people who win the lottery have a hard time being a lottery winner and adjusting to that change, and they spend all their money really quickly, or they blow it in Vegas, or they give it to family members and friends because the change, even though it's positive, feels like a threat. Okay. And so if you've built your whole identity around overriding your body's signals, it can feel like a threat, because then who are you if you're not the reliable one, the capable one, the one who shows up no matter what, right? Again, this can bring up some sense of rejection, some sense of grief, some sense of sadness, because it's like, wait, what's my purpose? Honey, your purpose, in my opinion, is to be who the fuck you are. And part of that means you need to take care of yourself. We're not going to talk about your purpose in this episode because that's a whole other conversation. But I think, in my personal opinion, we come to this earth at this time for our own purpose. And a lot of times that purpose is to live and to laugh and to connect with others and to build community and to love each other. And if that's a little pie in the sky, then that's okay. That's fine. Okay, so let's talk about what it looks like to come home to your body, because we have talked about the disconnection, right? And I want to say up front that this is not about achieving like optimal wellness. Nobody's taking measurements here. You're not creating a new morning routine or a new supplement stack or anything like that. Coming home to your body is about closing some of the distance that has been created between you and your physical body. It's meeting yourself with kindness and a whole lot of patience, okay? And it is also accompanied by compassion, where you do not expect your body to immediately trust you because you've started to pay attention, right? So basically, like if you think about it, it's like ignoring a friend for years. And you didn't do it on purpose, but life just got in the way. Like y'all kind of went opposite directions. And then you like sync up, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to be totally open and warm the moment you called. Like you need to kind of reestablish that relationship. And the same thing is true with your body. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple tools here. So this is like a 2-minute body check-in tool. So just once a day, pause and ask your body 3 questions. First one is, where am I holding tension right now? Just do a slow scan. Check your jaws, your shoulder, your chest, belly, hips, your feet. I hold a lot of tension in my feet. So where am I holding tension right now? Number 2 is, what does my energy feel like? Not what you wish it felt like, but what it feels like right now. Again, no judgment. And number 3 is, what do I need? And then stay with that question long enough to get a real answer, not I should drink more water or I should do this or whatever. Like really ask. One of the things I will do is I will ask myself, I'll stand up, I'll ask myself, what do I need right now? And then I trust the messages that come into my head. And then I will do a little sway test. So sway forward, sway backward. Do not use a sway test when you're picking out vitamins or food in the grocery store. I know there's influencers online that do that. Don't do that. Use a sway test to ask simple yes and no questions. It'll help you develop more of a relationship with your body, but it is not meant to diagnose or prescribe things. Okay. So what I will do is I'll ask, do I need more water? And yes or no. And honestly, like I have a big ass Stanley with me all the time. I don't often need more water, but sometimes I need to like get in the bathtub. Sometimes I need sleep. Sometimes I need protein. Sometimes I need to move. Sometimes I need to laugh. Like I'll ask these things of myself and see how my body responds. So that's something that you can do. You can add on top of that. But at very least, ask yourself, what do I need? And listen. Your inner voice, your intuition will tell you what you need. Okay? If you want one physiological tool that works fast, the next one I would recommend is breath work. Specifically extending the exhale. So when you extend your exhale longer than your inhale, it is activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and it's kind of hitting that rest and digest stage of your mind and your body. Okay. So basically what you're going to want to do is inhale for a count of 4 and then exhale for a count of 7 or 8. Do that 5 times and that is it. Okay. I like to think of kind of like blowing through a straw. So like putting your lips really close together, like pucker up and let that exhale come out that way. Just see how far you can let that exhale go. Or like you're trying to like blow out a candle that's like kind of a trick candle. You know, those trick birthday candles that we would have as kids, kind of blowing that flame out and just like keep going. You can do this in the car, in the bathroom, at work, during a hard conversation or before a hard conversation would be great too. When you wake up in the middle of the night, anytime, anywhere, you need no tools, just your breath, just your body. Okay. Then lastly, I would recommend some very gentle movement. Okay. So when we're in burnout, especially in deep burnout, intense exercise can actually backfire. And depending on what conditions we have, an intense workout may actually go to inflame that condition even more, exasperate it. Okay. So like if your cortisol, which is stress hormone, is already elevated, a high intensity workout is just high intensity stress on your body, and it could make some of your symptoms worse, not better. Again, talk to your physical trainer, talk to your doctor, your medical professional. This is not medical or workout advice here. This is just advice to move your body a little bit. Okay. So when you feel terrible, if you do a big exercise routine, it might discourage you, is all I'm saying. So something simple as a 10-minute walk, some gentle stretching. If you have access to a pool, some swimming, yoga, especially yin yoga, dancing in your kitchen to like one song. just shaking your booty. It doesn't have to be super elaborate. If you want to do something like Tai Chi or Qigong or anything like that, you can, of course, but literally dancing to your favorite Beyonce song, or in my case, Florence and the Machine song, in the kitchen is a wonderful way to move your body and help kind of complete the stress cycle, right? Get some of that energy moving out of your body, okay? So there's a few tips to reconnect to yourself. So having those conversations, moving your body gently, having a lot of compassion, okay? Your body is waiting for you. It is full of compassion for itself and is just wanting you to have compassion for it as well, okay? Every signal that your body has sent you, it has been for your own good when it comes to things like headaches, sleepless nights, a wave of hormonal whatever. And I say it's for your good because it's for your overall good. Kind of like when we cast spells, it's like, I want this, for my overall good, my highest good. Well, it doesn't mean necessarily that between point A and point B, it's a walk in the park. It means point B, that highest good is where you're going, right? So you may be having some very serious medical issues happening, and I am speaking from experience. I'll tell you more about that later. And ultimately, that's how you find that there's a problem. That's how you find the correct treatment with your medical provider. That's how you shift your lifestyle choices so that you can live a more stress-even lifestyle. Like, yes, we all want a stress-free lifestyle. In 2026, that is just not possible, but a stress-even lifestyle and living in more alignment. Okay, so that's what I mean by it's sending you these signals for your own good, basically. It's trying to get you to come back to it, right? And what's cool is you don't have to earn your way back to your body. You just have to show up, and your physical body is so ready to be listened to and held and heard and supported. If this episode landed for you, please share it with a friend. Comment on Spotify for me. I see those. I try to respond back to those. Leave me a review, please, as well, if you haven't already, because that really helps get the podcast out to everybody that needs to hear it. I want to shout out my amazing Patreon supporters. Thank you so, so much. You make this podcast possible. You can join for free, or you can pick a paid tier. Paid tiers start at as little as $3 a month. And with that, you get a weekly tarot and energy update. Just one card, one energy update, something happening in the stars, and you can kind of create your Sunday routine around that. Those come out early Sunday morning. And I've got some PDFs coming your way. If you are a higher tier, my friends, I am putting the finishing touches on a beautiful elemental magic workbook. So that is coming to you soon. And I've got other goodies for here in June. May was just crazy. Thank you again so much for listening. All of those links are down in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe wherever you tune into this podcast. And I just appreciate you so, so much. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Stay safe out there with all the Pride events. Don't get heat stroke. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. And as always, of course, stay magical. I'll see you next week.